Saviors transformed into living in the 20s. Different vibe, different story, new feelings, a different way to engage with this album. I'm going to give it to you. I might have a lisp on some parts of this video, I might not. We're going to be reordering. We're going to be resequencing Saviors by Green Day to make it a completely new experience for you and I. And I'm also going to be making up a new fictional concept story for the album. And I'm going to leave a link in the description below for you to listen to this album the way that I intended it to be listened to. There is a fly in the room. It's going to be okay. Green Day Saviors transformed into living in the 20s. Different vibe, different story, new feelings. The opening track is going to be Living in the 20s, the brand new title track, and a barn burner, Living in the 20s, shows us that there's a massacre on the Boulevard of Broken Dreams, and Billy Joe is puking up Facebook, Twitter, and the Tic Tac. He's just puking a lot on the Tic Tac social medias. I'm sorry, the mispronunciations are cringe. The second track on Living in the 20s is 1981. After the massacre on the Boulevard of Broken Dreams, the crazed and lonely Billy Joe Armstrong can be seen living out the song Money for Nothing by Dire Straits, and he gets canceled for singing the song in its entirety out loud because, you know, the lyrics. In the third track of Living in the 20s, we get Look Ma No Brains, and our hero, or anti-hero, continues partying as he travels across the country to find his long-lost Corvette. Summer is the next track, transforming into St. Jimmy yet again. Billy Joe, or Jilly Bo, heads to Las Vegas to track down his beloved Corvette Stingray. Oh, and St. Jimmy is your boyfriend. Jimmy is your boyfriend. The Stingray is recovered in this track, but how can we say it on YouTube? The substance abuse has been too great, too damaging, and causes some dilemmas, which is the fifth track on Living in the 20s. And on Dilemma, St. Jimmy, or Billy Joe, checks himself into a rehab center in Greenville, South Carolina, particularly in the neighborhood of Berea, but continues to do mass amounts of redacted. On the sixth track of Living in the 20s, that's really, it's really annoying to even say. It's social commentary. It's satire. Shut up. Just shut up. The sixth track on this really great iteration of Saviors Living in the 20s is Coma City, a redacted, fueled nightmare. Jimmy stumbles down the avenue, the boulevards, and Maria tries to help him, but decides that he's too messed up to help. She smashes the Board of Education over Jimmy Joe's head and becomes the disappearing girl. On the seventh track, Goodnight Adeline, Jimmy is sad about Maria. He drinks his wine and cries into the bottle. The next track is The American Dream is Killing Me, track number 8, and Jimmy is mad about Maria. He's also sad about Maria. The ninth track is Father to a Son, and Jimmy discovers that he has a child, a son, with what's-her-name, and they sing this to each other because, yes, I am thinking about making this into a Broadway musical. Copyright issues be darned. I don't care about those things. I will be a Broadway man. Maybe not. The 10th track is Saviors, and father and son team up to become superheroes, St. Jimmy and Judas Entwistle. But both hang up their capes very quickly after starting. They were only superheroes for like a night or two because of a girl or a boy. They were also kind of like, instead of Batman and Robin, they were more like Luigi and Mario. The 11th track of In the 20s is Bobby Socks. Jimmy and Judas both get perfect relationships that are just amazing. They just kind of drop out of the sky. Although Kanye West on Vultures One claims that these women just don't fall out of the sky, you know. Sky, you know. Sky, you know. Beautiful, but don't just fall out of the sky, you know. It's really smell good candle. The next track is Fancy Sauce. Things don't stay happy forever, though, as Judas slips on a ketchup packet and a BANANAS. What were we saying? Oh, he slips on a ketchup packet and a BANANAS peel at the same time, slipping into a coma once again for the first time. Billy starts to become himself again instead of St. Jimmy, but the mental strain of switching back and forth is taking a great toll on this character, this real life man. His fears are that he will be the next rock and roll tragedy, that it may be him. On the next track, Susie Chapstick, now we are on to the 13th track of In the 20s, and this is Susie Chapstick inside the Statue of Liberty, who's covered in pink ooze for some reason. Billy Joe catches a glimpse of his friend Toonie, who he hasn't seen in some time. He chases the goofy guy through the Statue of Liberty, and they sing, "Your love is lifting me higher and higher," because that's what you do when you're in the pink ooze Statue of Liberty in New York. You know she's French, right? So that happened. You have to Venkman, right? Anyway, the 14th track is One-Eyed Bastard. Billy gets the call that his son is going to be okay, because remember, his son slipped into a coma once again for the first time. But in One-Eyed Bastard, Billy finds out that his son is going to be okay. And as Billy is dealing with that, he loses the Toonie, in the Statue of Liberty. And Billy falls out of her onto the beach that would one day be seen at the end of the Planet of the Apes. And while not the rock and roll tragedy that Billy Joe thought that he would end up as, he does splat pretty good. But when he comes to, old Orion Urkel Burkham, otherwise known as the One-Eyed Bastard, old Orion Urkel Burkham is yelling at him in the alleyway. Billy Joe borrowed $10 back when he used to look too young and healthy. He borrowed $10 from old OEB, and One-Eyed Bastard is going to beat him very badly because he's not paying up. He's not giving the $10 back to him. And finally, after a really, really, really aggressive beating, Billy hands One-Eyed Bastard a $1 million bill, because in 2024, those are about worth $10. The $1 million bill with the Statue of Liberty on it, she keeps popping up because she's a rebel, you know. So after his royal beatdown by the one-eyed, or the eye patch wearing hoodlum, that is the one-eyed bastard. Billy Joe walks the only road he has ever known. He don't know where it goes, but it's only me and I walk alone. Oh, oh, oh. Do you know how this story ends? My friends, it ends with the strange days being here to stay. Strange days are here to stay is the final track. And Billy Joe Armstrong takes a puff off of his joint, stumbling down the 8th Avenue, and David Bowie walks beside him as he thinks, man, this life ain't so bad after all. His wounds from One-Eyed Bastard are devastating. He looks like he's dying. Donald Trump grabs a hold. What? This is not right. Donald Trump, it says Donald Trump grabs a hold of his other albums as Bowie is doing the same thing. But that's just because I'm used to writing album. So Donald Trump and David Bowie are holding Billy Joe's hands as they sing the song in unison. Billy Joe's grandma soon comes to the rescue of his right leg. She grabs onto that, which the One-Eyed Bastard had taken a big bite out of with his teeth. A massive blob from Return of the Blob rolls up behind them, as if to say, you know? Alex Terrible shows up for some reason, and in the distance, an Uber driver dramatically drives their car off a cliff and explodes. But Billy Joe still thinks, that's okay. A teenager and an old man join the parade that's now marching down towards Billy Joe's trailer park. A young boy funny. A young boy in clay armor runs out, and now Billy Joe's army is complete. Oh man. He now knows where they are heading. The castle of Van Gogh from the network. They breach the castle walls, and an all-out war breaks out between Billy Joe Armstrong, his army, and the network. Billy Joe is locked into a fierce battle with Fink from the network. But when Billy Joe says something about his mom being named Ollie, Fink suddenly stops fighting. He tells Billy Joe, my mom's named Ollie too. And that they should be fighting together, not against each other. They should be fighting on the same side, on the same team. Billy Joe Armstrong and Fink, I can't say his first name because it's not right. I don't sing Dire Straits out loud. Dang it, not when anybody's around. Billy Joe and Fink climb on top of a car that's on fire and embrace gaily. The end. Here's the complete track list that I just described to you, and you can experience this stupidity for yourself by streaming the album in the link, the description below. If you don't do that, as well as like this video, absolutely nothing will happen.
Do you have the time to listen to me whine about everything and nothing all at once? Melodramatic.